Returning to 1978, I decided to do three things. First, I would actively apply to support the construction of Northwest China. Second, I would no longer naively take care of Gu Yujin's pregnant foster sister, Mo Xiaoya. Third, I would divorce Gu Yujin and part ways forever. I noticed I was acting out of character, not making a fuss and not caring about him defending Mo Xiaoya. Gu Yujin thought I had learned my lesson after being confined, until he got injured on a mission. Needed someone to take care of him, and came to me only to be coldly rejected. It was then that Gu Yujin realized things had completely slipped out of his control. I had already decided to let him go. Su Luo, your confinement is over, you can come out now. The voice of Gu Yujin's guard roused me from my confusion. I limped out of the confinement room, and the blinding sunlight made it impossible for me to open my eyes. Physiological tears welled up, and the emotionless voice of Gu Yujin's personal guard reached my ears. The leader has a meeting today. He asked me to tell you to reflect on your mistakes at home and write an apology letter. He will check it after the meeting. I wiped the tears from the corners of my eyes and walked forward in silence. Gu Yujin's guard followed behind, and I could feel his disdain in his eyes. As the leader's wife who is not favored, even the guard looks down on me, following the wind and turning the rudder. In my previous life, I desperately tried to grasp things that weren't meant for me, exhausting all my strength, but all I got was being confined, scolded impatiently by Gu Yujin, and eventually being despised and neglected, leading to my death by suicide due to depression. When I married Gu Yujin, we did have our moments of affection. He bought me snacks, took me to the movies, and walked with me. Our love was the envy of all. But everything changed when Gu Yujin's foster sister, Mo Xiaoya, showed up pregnant and seeking refuge. From the first day Mo Xiaoya arrived, I became invisible in Gu Yujin's eyes. The first person he thought of whenever he saw her was always Mo Xiaoya. He accompanied Mo Xiaoya to pick out baby supplies, went with her to prenatal checkups, and gave her all the savings they had at home. At first, I thought Gu Yujin's feelings for Mo Xiaoya were just brotherly, and I followed suit, taking great care of her. Then one day, I came across Mo Xiaoya's diary. Yujin Gij, I love you. I know you love me too. Why can't we be together when we love each other so much? I'm afraid I might blurt it out to the whole world. Yujin Gij, I can't live without you. It was like a bolt from the blue. I confronted Mo Xiaoya and demanded an explanation. Mo Xiaoya showed no fear at all. It's exactly as you saw. We love each other, but we can't be together for some reason. I angrily slapped Mo Xiaoya, but she turned around and accused me of hurting him in front of Gu Yujin. I was roughly pushed to the ground by Gu Yujin and sprained my ankle. Mo Xiaoya was rushed to the hospital due to a threatened miscarriage, and Gu Yujin didn't come home for days, staying at the hospital the whole time. I rushed to find him, and Mo Xiaoya, with her big belly, smirked at me provocatively. I love you, June, and Yujun loves me too. Because of societal norms, we can't be together, so Yujun's brother married you. To put it bluntly, you're just a fig leaf we needed. I've never seen such a shameless person before. The shock and anger forced Gu Yujun to choose between me and Mo Xiaoya. Gu Yujun thought I was being unreasonable. He rubbed his forehead and scolded me impatiently. He accused me of making things up and being petty, saying I was malicious and couldn't tolerate others. He was just showing humanitarianism by taking care of his pregnant, homeless foster sister. But I let my imagination run wild and threw mud at both him and his foster sister, Mo Xiaoya. Later, Mo Xiaoya accused me of pushing her to kill her unborn child, and Gu Yujin once again chose to believe her over my explanations. He forced me to apologize to Mo Xiaoya and admit my mistake, but I didn't do anything wrong, so I naturally refused to apologize. So Gu Yujin had the guards lock me in a detention room to reflect on my mistakes. In my previous life, I was locked in solitary confinement for a week. After I got out, Gu Yujin had the guards inform me to write an apology letter, which I naturally refused to do. Gu Yujin believed I was stubborn and wanted a divorce. I was madly in love with Gu Yujin and couldn't bear the thought of divorcing him, so, under Gu Yujin's pressure, I shamefully wrote an apology letter to Mo Xiaoya. I thought that taking a step back would mean a wider sky, but I was too naive. After Mo Xiaoya gave birth, she continued to stay at the home I shared with Gu Yujin. I worked while taking care of her like a nanny during her postpartum period, but no matter what I did, Mo Xiaoya showed no gratitude. She frequently tried to frame and provoke me, and Gu Yujin always sided against me. He looked at me as if I were something incomprehensible. The prolonged mental torment made me sick. I developed depression. I was constantly anxious about losing things, yet I didn't realize I was sick. Gu Yujin didn't care about me, so I struggled alone. thinking about ending it all through death multiple times. Later, I became pregnant. I was overjoyed to know that a little life was growing inside me, and I carefully nurtured my unborn child. I thought Gu Yujun would return to the time when we were in love because of the child, but it was all just my wishful thinking. After learning of my pregnancy, Mo Xiaoya devised a mutually destructive plan to frame me, and in the end, I lost my child. When I lost my child, Gu Yujun was by Mo Xiaoya's side, comforting her and her child. Dragging my broken body past Mo Xiaoya's ward, I saw Gu Yujun peeling an apple for her, and saw Gu Yujun holding Mo Xiaoya's child, softly comforting them. They seemed like a loving family, and the sight before me drove me to madness. With no will to live, I climbed to the rooftop of the hospital and jumped, ending my miserable life. Relying on my memories, I slowly made my way to the home I shared with Gu Yujun. Encountering many familiar faces along the way, everyone stopped to stare at me, their gazes filled with mockery and disdain. Thanks to Tomo Xiaoya, all the neighbors now know I'm a vicious woman who can't tolerate my husband's sister. To viciously harm a pregnant woman is beyond comprehension. In my previous life, I was so ashamed under the public's gaze that I felt utterly humiliated. I no longer care, having died once in this life. I swear in my heart that I will never follow the same path as my previous life. I will not apologize to the shameless Mo Xiaoya, and if Gu Yujun wants a divorce, I will divorce him. I want to stay far away from these two disgusting individuals. As Mo Xiaoya, heavily pregnant, heard the sound and came out, she opened the door and stepped onto the porch, seeing me haggard and disheveled. She covered her nose with a look of disgust. Back, the taste of confinement wasn't pleasant, was it? Seeing this vicious thing again, the hatred in my heart boiled. Get out. Oh, you're still so arrogant after being locked up for 7 days. It seems you haven't reflected deeply enough. Let me tell you, Su Luo, don't think this is over. Brother Yujun said you'll sincerely apologize to me. I'm really looking forward to it. As long as there are no outsiders. Mo Xiaoya doesn't hide her malice. I stopped, looked at her, and said slowly, then you just wait for my apology. I hadn't bathed in 7 days, and I stank. I boiled water, bathed, and changed my clothes. I opened the box, took out all the money, grain tickets, meat tickets, and cloth tickets I had saved, and walked out the door. Mo Xiaoya was sitting in the courtyard, basking in the sun. Seeing me come out, she commanded in a commanding tone, I'm hungry. You go buy groceries and cook right away, get plenty of meat and ribs. I ignored Mo Xiaoya and quickly left the courtyard, hopping on my old bike and heading straight to work. I quickly wrote an application letter at my desk and knocked on the leader's door. The leader was extremely surprised after reading my application. You want to sign up to support the construction in northwest China? This is no joke. The environment there is terrible, and it's a minimum of 5 years. Your family's commander Gu certainly won't feel at ease letting you go. This is my choice, and Gu Yujun has no right to interfere. Moreover, personal interest should not be considered in front of the nation. I have made my decision. I want to dedicate my life to my country. I was resolute, and the leader accepted my application, kindly reminding me to discuss it further with Gu Yujun at home. If I make up my mind, I'll be ready to leave in half a month. After leaving the office, I exhaled deeply, feeling completely empty inside. Passing by a restaurant, I went in and exchanged grain and meat coupons for a delicious meal. After eating and drinking my fill, I strolled slowly through the streets, thinking about what to do next as I walked. Signing up to leave here and support the Western development was the first decision I made after I came to my senses. From now on, I won't be foolishly infatuated with Gu Yujin like I was in my previous life. Nor will I foolishly endure and take care of the vicious and shameless Mo Xiaoya for him. My application to go to the Northwest has been submitted, and the next thing I need to do is divorce Gu Yujin. In my past life, Gu Yujin threatened to divorce me if I didn't apologize to Mo Xiaoya. I guess today will follow the same path, so I'll go along with it and agree, ending things with him first. I only dragged myself home before sunset, and as soon as I walked in, I heard Mo Xiaoya sobs. Sister-in-law must hate me to death. She came back and yelled at me, telling me to get out. Yujin, let me go. I can't let myself be the reason you and sister-in-law grow apart. Mo Xiaoya, crying, pretended to leave, and Gu Yujin quickly reached out to stop her. Without a care, Mo Xiaoya threw herself into his arms. Seeing this disgusting scene, I slammed the door shut. Both of them turned to look at me in surprise. Gu Yujin pushed Mo Xiaoya away from his embrace, his face dark as he asked me, where have you been? Why didn't you make dinner? Brother Yujin, don't be harsh on sister-in-law. It's understandable that she's upset and didn't make dinner. I can go a little hungry. Gu Yujin's expression darkened further at Mo Xiaoya's pretentious words, his tone domineering. Hurry up and cook. I've already bought the ingredients. Xiaoya wants braised pork and spare ribs, so make some for her to nourish her body. I was about to refuse, but seeing the meat and spare ribs Gu Yujin bought, I immediately changed my mind and went to the kitchen. Seeing me obediently comply, a flicker of dissatisfaction crossed Mo Xiaoya's eyes. In less than an hour, I brought the prepared braised pork and ribs to the table. I also thoughtfully served them rice, and both Gu Yujin and Mo Xiaoya were hungry. The two sat down one after the other. Gu Yujin thoughtfully added 2 large pieces of ribs and a piece of braised pork to Mo Xiaoya's bowl. Eat quickly, don't starve the child. I, a living person, stood by, but he completely ignored my presence and showed no intention of inviting me to sit down and eat. I couldn't help but twitch the corner of my mouth. My past self was truly beyond saving. To love Gu Yujin so devotedly despite being treated like a servant, I died without any regrets, I thought to myself, my cold gaze fixed on Mo Xiaoya as she stuffed a large piece of meat into her mouth. She had a look of satisfaction on her face, but as soon as the large piece of meat entered her mouth, she spat it out before she could even chew. Salty, it's killing me. I added a whole big packet of salt to the braised pork and spare rib soup I prepared for them. It won't kill them, but it will make them miserable. Mo Xiaoya spat out the meat and hurriedly went for the soup, trying to wash away the salty taste in her mouth. But the soup was just as salty and bitter. She rushed into the kitchen making guttural sounds, looking for water to rinse her mouth. Across from her, Gu Yujin saw this and dipped his chopsticks into the sauce. Tasting a tiny bit, his expression turned utterly grim. Su Luo, you're incorrigible. I spread my hands innocently. What did I do? I cooked for you, and you're still not satisfied. If you're not happy, then from now on, you can fend for yourselves. With that, I turned and went upstairs to my room, leaving chaos downstairs for a while. Mo Xiaoya was crying, and Gu Yujin was comforting her. In my previous life, hearing this would have broken my heart and left me devastated, but now, I simply ignored it. Half an hour later, Gu Yujin, having calmed Mo Xiaoya, pushed open the door with a dark expression. Su Luo, go apologize to Xiaoya right now. What if I don't apologize? I looked straight at him and asked, if you don't apologize, we'll get a divorce. I mean it. Great, let's get a divorce. I nodded with a smile. Let's file for divorce right now. My prompt agreement to divorce made Gu Yujin look at me as if he had seen a ghost. I glanced at him briefly, then looked away, picked up the divorce papers I had prepared earlier, signed them, and handed them to Gu Yujin. This is the divorce report. I've already signed it. Now it's your turn. Gu Yujin grabbed the divorce report I had written with a dark expression. After quickly scanning it, he let out a cold laugh. Su Luo, I'm warning you. The consequences after I sign are not something you can handle. You'd better not play any games of playing hard to get with me. What can't be handled? It's just a divorce. Anyone can live without the other. Gu Yujin, if you're a man, sign it without hesitation. Gu Yujin's forehead veins bulged as he glared at me fiercely without signing. Su Luo, don't regret this, never regret it. I handed him the pen. Gu Yujin was caught in a dilemma, his lips pressed together as he refused to take the pen. I looked at him, my eyes full of mockery. Gu Yujin, you wouldn't be reluctant to divorce me, would you? Gu Yujin's expression looked like he was about to explode. He grabbed my hand and dragged me in front of him. Su Luo, my patience is limited. Apologize obediently, and I won't pursue anything that happened before. Otherwise what? Keep me confined again. What excuse are you planning to use this time? Just because I put too much salt in the food? I looked at Gu Yujin with sarcasm. That reason probably isn't enough to confine me, is it? You? Gu Yujin was filled with rage. He had never seen me so disobedient before, but I really didn't do anything wrong. He truly couldn't find a reason to hold me. Gu Yujin grabbed my hand forcefully. Su Luo, you're in the wrong and still refuse to admit it. You think you're in the right. Gu Yujin, how many times do I have to tell you? I, Su Luo, am upright and honest. I've never laid a hand on Mo Xiaoya. Why did she fall? Who else but you? I knew Gu Yujin wouldn't believe me, so why waste my breath explaining? I shook off Gu Yujin's hand. No more talking, just sign the papers. Gu Yujin approached me with clenched teeth. Enough. Su Luo, you don't think I dare to sign, do you? I wouldn't dare think that. I've just had enough of this life. Let's let each other go. As I coldly watched him insistently demanding his signature, a hurt expression flashed in Gu Yujin's eyes. I just coldly stared at him, at the man I had loved so deeply in my previous life that I had given my life for him. There was no longer any attachment or love in my eyes, only disgust. Gu Yujin looked at my resolute expression and opened his mouth. But before he could speak, a scream suddenly came from outside, Mo Xiaoya's scream. Gu Yujin threw the marriage report at me and walked away. I got up and chased after him, only to see Mo Xiaoya in pain, leaning on Gu Yujin. Yujin Ji, my stomach hurts. This has always been Mo Xiaoya's trick, and it never fails. Worried about Mo Xiaoya, Gu Yujin hurriedly supported her and asked what was wrong. Why are you yelling at me again? What are you standing there for? Why aren't you coming over to help? What does this have to do with me? Gu Yujin, sign the divorce papers. I handed the divorce papers and a pen to Gu Yujin with a completely blank expression. Gu Yujin looked at me with disbelief in his eyes. He swatted my hand away and rushed out the door, carrying Mo Xiaoya. I chased to the door and only saw Mo Xiaoya's disappointed expression. No need to say, I know Mo Xiaoya's feelings are hard to put into words right now. If she knew Gu Yujin and I were discussing our divorce inside, she definitely wouldn't have pretended to be sick to call Gu Yujin away. Unfortunately, she made a misstep, and I'm also frustrated that I didn't get Gu Yujin to sign as I wished. That night, Gu Yujin and Mo Xiaoya didn't return. I lay fully clothed on the bed, contemplating leaving in the future. Then, slowly, I drifted into a dreamless sleep. In the morning, to my surprise, I found that Gu Yujin had returned. He handed me the bean paste bun, his face unusually bright with a smile, his voice gentle. Here, eat the bean paste bun while it's hot. I absolutely love bean paste buns. In the past, Gu Yujin would often buy them for me, but ever since Mo Xiaoya arrived, that hasn't happened. I didn't take the bean paste bun from him. Instead, I went back to the room and brought out the divorce report that I hadn't signed last night. Sign it. Once you do, we'll go and handle the formalities. Gu Yujin looked at me in disbelief. You, Su Luo, I've already made concessions. What more do you want? Let me tell you, don't push your luck. I looked at Gu Yujin expressionlessly. As a leader, you should lead by example and keep your word. Since you initiated the divorce, be straightforward about it and don't make me look down on you. Gu Yujin is arrogant, and with this kind of provocation, he would definitely sign. To my surprise, Gu Yujin snatched the divorce papers from my hand and tore them to shreds in a few quick motions. He panted, glared at me with bloodshot eyes, and stormed out in a rage. I chased to the door trying to stop him, but I was too late. Gu Yujin, with his long legs, quickly walked out the door, got into his car, and left. It's really puzzling that Gu Yujin refuses to sign the divorce papers. He clearly doesn't have me in his heart anymore, only Mo Xiaoya, so why won't he divorce me? Mo Xiaoya once told me in my previous life that Gu Yujin used me as a shield and a cover-up because of their identity issues, so that's why Gu Yujin refused to get a divorce. For a while, Gu Yujin didn't come back, supposedly on a mission. With Gu Yujin gone, Mo Xiaoya surprisingly didn't show up to cause trouble. I enjoyed the peace and quiet, working while taking care of household matters. Since I'm leaving and cutting ties with Gu Yujin, I'll do it cleanly and completely. I tore up all our photos and gave away the sweater and shoes I had painstakingly made for Gu Yujin. I couldn't take much with me to the northwest, so I gave away most of my clothes to the neighbors. Even the extra bedding and sheets at home were given away. Dealing with things wasn't complicated. Within a few days, I had almost cleared out my home. However, Gu Yujin still hadn't returned. Watching the numbers on the calendar, I grew anxious as the day of my departure for the northwest drew closer. My divorce was still unresolved. Although I could go to the northwest without getting divorced, I really didn't want to have any further contact with Gu Yujin, to truly sever ties. It must be done completely, with no further contact ever. I was anxious, but then I received a call from the military hospital. Gu Yujin is injured. I was notified as his family member to go take care of him at the hospital. Upon receiving the call, I felt no trace of tension or worry. After all, in my previous life, Gu Yujin was fine even after I died. I believe this time, nothing serious will happen to him either. What does it matter to me if he has something big going on, anyway? I won't be heartbroken over that man who betrayed me. When my boss heard that Gu Yujin was injured, he immediately gave me leave to take care of him in the hospital. Instead of going to the hospital, I inquired about Mo Xiaoya's whereabouts. After much inquiry, I finally learned that Mo Xiaoyan was actually staying in Gu Yujin's military dormitory. She's really well hidden. I marvel at Gu Yujin's care for Mo Xiaoyan. Was he afraid I would make things difficult for Mo Xiaoyan? So he had her stay in the military dormitory. Since he's so reluctant to part with Mo Xiaoyan, I won't be the bad guy. Let Mo Xiaoyan take care of Gu Yujin. I'm sure they both have feelings for each other and will appreciate my arrangement. I went to Imo Xiaoya's military dorm to inform her about Gu Yujin's injury and asked her to go to the hospital to take care of him immediately. After notifying Imo Xiaoya, I went home without any burden. I cooked dinner myself and enjoyed 3 big bowls. The days leading up to my departure for the Northwest were drawing closer, and I went shopping every day. The conditions there are harsh, so I need to prepare more supplies. At the hospital, Gu Yujin had been unconscious for 3 days and 3 nights without waking up. Imo Xiaoya sat by the bed, carefully wiping Gu Yujin's face with a damp towel. She stared intently at Gu Yujin's handsome features. Orphaned at 8, she was adopted by the Gu family and grew up with Gu Yujin. Imo Xiaoya fell for him the moment she saw him. Gu Yujin was so incredibly handsome that there wasn't a single girl who didn't like him. Imo Xiaoya especially adored Gu Yujin. She was always clinging to him, dreaming of marrying him. As Imo Xiaoya grew older, her feelings for Gu Yujin became too obvious, and they were discovered by the elders of the Gu family. Imo Xiaoya was hastily married off, and during her marriage, she felt she was living a life worse than death. She constantly dreamed of returning to Gu Yujin's side. Later, the man she married passed away, and she finally had a reason to seek out Gu Yujin. Gu Yujin treated her very well, indulging her in everything. And Imo Xiaoya was deeply content. This isn't what Imo Xiaoya wants. She wishes she could be the only woman by his side, but he's already married, and seeing the legitimate woman by his side drives Imo Xiaoya mad with jealousy. How she longs to stand by Gu Yujin's side legitimately. Imo Xiaoya greedily stares at the unconscious Gu Yujin. This was the man she had loved for so many years, unattainable, and the torment in her heart was the most intimate thing she had ever done with Gu Yujin was to hold hands and pretend to faint into his arms. This wasn't what Imo Xiaoya wanted the most. She had always wanted to take it a step further, like kissing his face. Now was undoubtedly an opportunity, as Gu Yujin was unconscious, so she decided to take action to ease her longing. With thoughts racing through her mind, Imo Xiaoya couldn't help but lower her head, preparing to give Gu Yujin's cheek a quick peck. Just as her lips were about to reach Gu Yujin's face, she was met with a sharp slap across the cheek. The slap jolted Imo Xiaoya out of her daze, leaving her face burning with pain. More than the pain, Imo Xiaoya felt an overwhelming sense of fear. Her feelings for Gu Yujin were finally exposed, and he found out. What should she do now? How can she explain this? She panicked and looked toward Gu Yujin on the bed, but before she could see clearly, she was struck hard across the face. This slap was even harder, and Imo Xiaoya was struck so forcefully that she fell directly to the ground. She covered her face, feeling a mix of shame, anger, and fear, her heart racing to the extreme. The dark and ugly thoughts were exposed, and the feeling of being tortured made Imo Xiaoya unable to look at Gu Yujin. She waited for Gu Yujin, who had discovered the truth, to deliver his judgment, but after a long wait, all she heard was a murmuring voice, Su Luo, Luo Luo. Gu Yujin on the bed was actually calling Su Luo's name. Imo Xiaoya struggled to sit up and found that Gu Yujin was still unconscious. He didn't open his eyes, his hands flailing wildly, murmuring, Luo Luo, don't go, child. So the 2 slaps she received earlier were just Gu Yujin's random flailing while unconscious. Imo Xiaoya's heart settled down. Gu Yujin, still unconscious, was sweating profusely on his forehead. His eyes closed as he kept murmuring Su Luo's name. Imo Xiaoya was seething with anger, glaring viciously at Gu Yujin. At that moment, the door was pushed open and Gu Yujin's bodyguard entered. Seeing Gu Yujin's condition on the hospital bed, the bodyguard quickly pressed the call button for the doctor. The doctor immediately rushed over to attend to him, and after a thorough examination, Gu Yujin finally opened his eyes. The first words out of his mouth were, Luo Luo. Su Luo, the doctor quickly interjected, Comrade leader, you're awake. You've been unconscious for several days, you need to rest now. Don't get excited. Where's Su Luo? Where is she? Gu Yujin's gaze scanned the room. The guard responded, Madam is at home. Is she at home? Are you sure? Gu Yujin pressed. Nothing happened, right? No, nothing. Madam is fine, sir. Please don't worry. Gu Yujin exhaled deeply, his heart racing. He pressed his hand to his chest, trying to control the fear and panic. Get Su Lu here. Tell her to come to the hospital right away. He needs to see Su Lu immediately, to see the living Su Lu to feel at ease. After all, the dream he just had was too terrifying. He dreamed of Su Lu, pregnant, jumping to her death. He saw Su Lu's body shattered, so brutal, so heart-wrenching. That dream was too real, too terrifying. Even though Gu Yujin had been through countless battles and remained calm in crises, he was still startled. When the guard came to find me, I was in the kitchen cooking. As I cooked and hummed a tune, the guard pushed the door open unhappily. calling out to me in a sharp tone, "The leader is awake and wants you to come over." I turned to glance at the guard. "What are you going for? The leader has been unconscious for days, and you haven't visited him even once. How could you be so cruel?" I looked at the guard's flushed face. "I'm not a doctor. What good would it do if I went? Isn't it enough to have someone watching over him? But the leader specifically asked for you to come." "I'm busy, I haven't eaten yet." The guard was furious with my attitude and stormed off. "Did he tell me to wait before leaving as a threat? Hee. They can't just lock me up again just because I don't go to the hospital, can they?" Gu Yujin waited anxiously in the hospital for a long time, and the guard returned. However, no one was following him. He was alone. "Where's Su Luo?" She refused to come, saying she wanted to cook dinner. How could that be? Gu Yujin couldn't believe that Su Luo would ignore him like this. "Did you not explain it clearly?" "I did. As soon as I heard about your accident, I went to find her immediately, told her about your condition, and even went to her workplace to ask her boss for leave, but she never came to the hospital once." The guard felt wronged, thinking it wasn't worth it for his commander to marry such a heartless wife. How is that possible? Could there be some mistake somewhere? Gu Yujin murmured, "How could Sulu not care about herself? She loves herself so much that even a small injury would make her cry for half a day. Why is she indifferent to her long period of unconsciousness? What exactly went wrong?" he thought to himself, and the security guard continued angrily, "The madam must be angry that you can find her. She's being unreasonable for her own mistakes and has the nerve to be upset with you." Gu Yujin just woke up and forgot about locking Su Luo in confinement. At the guard's reminder, his face turned ashen. In his dream, he also saw himself locking Su Luo in confinement and threatening her with divorce. In the dream, Su Luo refused to divorce at all costs and immediately apologized to Emo Xiaoya. In reality, Gu Yujin recalled the events before the mission. When Su Luo handed him a completed divorce application to sign, her expression was cold, and her gaze held no trace of affection. In the end, he hastily tore up the divorce report and left the house. Gu Yujin felt deeply uncomfortable thinking about Su Luo's intention to divorce. How could Su Luo even bring up the idea of divorce to him? How could she bear to divorce him? He leaned against the headboard, frowning in deep thought. Unaware of how much time had passed, a coquettish voice called out, "Brother Yujin, are you thirsty? Have some water." Gu Yujin turned his head to see Emo Xiaoya, who had appeared out of nowhere. Emo Xiaoya held a cup of water, her face swollen, clearly having been hit. Gu Yujin was startled and asked, "What happened to your face?" Emo Xiaoya touched her face and tears welled up in. It was my sister-in-law who hit me." "What?" Gu Yujin raised his voice. "Why did she hit you?" "My sister-in-law said I was with you, and no matter how I explained, she wouldn't believe me, so she..." Gu Yujin's gaze fixed on Emo Xiaoya's face, unwavering as he stared at her. Emo Xiaoya felt uneasy under his gaze. Why was Gu Yujin looking at her like that? Did he not believe her words? The first thing Gu Yujin felt upon seeing Emo Xiaoya's face was anger. How could Su Lu lay a hand on her? Didn't she know Emo Xiaoya was pregnant? This is outrageous. In his anger, he suddenly remembered his dream where Su Lu repeatedly bullied Emo Xiaoya. He confronted Su Lu, but she kept denying it, refusing to admit anything. The dream I just had was too real, too brutal. He remembered Su Luo's cries in the dream, remembered her despair. He remembered Su Luo angrily questioning him, "What exactly is your relationship with Emo Xiaoya, Gu Yujin? Do you want me or her?" He remembered Su Luo pulling his hand, explaining over and over, "I didn't push her, she's framing me, I really didn't." He remembered Su Lu lying pale and desperate on the bed, tears streaming down her cheeks. My child, murderers, you are all murderers." The final scene froze with Su Lu lying motionless on the ground, blood stained her clothes, and all around were fragments of flesh and limbs. Gu Yujin clutched his chest, the pain spreading from his chest. Every cell in his body ached. He knew it was just a dream, but it was too terrifying. He couldn't lose Su Luo. He was acutely aware that he couldn't accept this situation in his dream. Emo Xiaoya had no idea what Gu Yujin was thinking. Tears streamed down her face. "Yujin Gij. Sister-in-law doesn't like me. I think it's better if I don't disturb you anymore. I'll move out once you're fully recovered." This was Emo Xiaoya's go-to move. Every time she said this, Gu Yujin couldn't bear to let her go. She would take her anger out on Su Luo, and she waited for Gu Yujin to stand up for her. It took a long time, but Gu Yujin finally spoke. "It's better if you move out. I'll have the guards find you a place right away. For any future issues, contact the guards, not me." To avoid upsetting your sister-in-law, Emo Xiaoya was completely stunned. After dinner, I was about to head out to continue shopping. But before I could leave, Mo Xiaoya showed up. She looked a bit haggard, not like her previous life where she was plump and rosy. It goes without saying that she was worried about Gu Yujin, but what happened to her face? Both of her cheeks were swollen like steamed buns. Did someone hit her? I chuckled to myself, who would dare to hit Mo Xiaoya? She's the apple of Gu Yujin's eye. Anyone who dares to lay a hand on Mo Xiaoya would be locked up until they die. Mo Xiaoya glared at me with venom in her eyes. Su Luo, are you satisfied now? I shot her an annoyed look. Speak normally, stop being so sarcastic. They say a dog that bites doesn't bark, but I didn't expect you to have some tricks up your sleeve. You actually forced Yujin Gij to make me move out by playing the retreat card. I truly underestimated you. I was shocked by Mo Xiaoya's words. What do you mean? Gu Yujin asked you to move out. How is that possible? In my previous life, I cried, made a scene, and even threatened to hang myself, but I exhausted all means and still couldn't get Gu Yujin to budge. Why did he make this decision in this life when I didn't do anything? Mo Xiaoya is vicious and shameless. Her words cannot be trusted. I looked at her coldly. You came to me just to say this. What else, you vicious woman? Let me tell you. I won't move out easily. Yujin Gij is mine. No one can take him away from me. I felt sick just listening to her. No one wants to take your Yujin Gij away. If you like Gu Yujin, take him. I don't care. You're so two-faced, playing hard to get. Mo Xiaoya glared at me angrily. Mo Xiaoya was truly furious. Her tried-and-true tactics had backfired today, and how could she not be upset? She couldn't understand how things had turned out this way. Especially since Gu Yujin had always been so obedient to her. Her methods had always worked before. Why did everything change after Gu Yujin got hurt just once? Mo Xiaoya couldn't figure out why Gu Yujin had changed, so she could only attribute everything to Su Luo. It must be that Su Luo suggested divorce as a strategic retreat, softening Gu Yujin's heart. Do you really think Yujin Gij is genuinely reluctant to let you go? You couldn't be more wrong. He's about to get promoted. And he doesn't want any trouble at this critical moment. Watching Mo Xiaoya's frantic state, I was puzzled. What got into her? Even after I've given in so much to help them, why does Mo Xiaoya still act like I owe her something? I'm well aware of Mo Xiaoya's ambition to climb up the ladder, given her cunning and ruthless nature. If she could help me get a divorce, it would definitely be twice the result with half the effort. Thinking this, I shrugged. Really? So you're content to be a nobody for the rest of your life? Don't you think it's better to have some ambition? I looked at Mo Xiaoya's twisted face and smirked. How about we make a deal? I'll divorce and step aside to let you and your Yujin brother be together. You find a way to get him to sign my divorce papers. Mo Xiaoya looked at me in surprise. Are you serious? Not trying to set a trap for me, of course. Mo Xiaoya took the divorce report I gave her and left. I knew that with Mo Xiaoya's abilities, she should be able to get Gu Yujin to sign it. Now, just wait patiently for the news. Mo Xiaoya hadn't been gone long when Gu Yujin's guard arrived again. He looked stern. The organization has ordered you to go to the hospital to take care of the leader. This is an order. Gu Yujin's guard looked like he would resort to force if I refused. A wise man doesn't fight when the odds are against him. Reluctantly, I followed the guard to the hospital. Gu Yujin was hooked up to N4, but when he saw me come in, he reached out to grab my hand. I subtly moved away, asking with distant politeness, "How do you feel? Any pain anywhere?" Gu Yujin's smile faded when he heard my polite inquiry. He stared at me without blinking. I stood quietly a meter away, meeting his gaze. After a long silence, Gu Yujin signaled the guards to leave. After the guard closed the door and left, he slowly spoke up. "I've asked Xiao Zhan to find a place for Xiaoya. She'll be moving out." I responded with a blank expression, a simple "oh," which seemed to irritate Gu Yujin. The incident with Xiaoya last time, I interrupted him. "There's no way I'm apologizing, Gu Yujin. You've already confined me for 7 days. What more do you want? Let me tell you. Killing someone is as simple as cutting off their head, and even a cornered rabbit will bite." No, I just want to know what really happened back then and why you pushed her. I don't know why Gu Yujin is asking this again. I explained to him before, but he didn't believe a single word I said. Now you've confined me for 7 days, and you're bringing this up again. What's the point? Are you still standing up for Mo Xiaoya? He really has some nerve. I was impatient. I don't even know why I pushed her. You can ask Mo Xiaoya for the specifics. Whatever she says goes. I've already been confined for 7 days. Do you really plan to send me to jail? Is there no justice left? Gu Yujin's expression was complex, looking somewhat lonely and hurt. "Su Luo, I'm injured. Are you sure you want to treat me like this?" I looked at him indifferently. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you." To avoid affecting your mood, I think it's better if I leave now. Seeing Su Luo leave without looking back, Gu Yujin was so angry that he started coughing, hearing the noise. The guard immediately came in to check on him. Seeing Gu Yujin coughing incessantly, the guard quickly poured him some water and complained about Su Luo with concern. What on earth is wrong with madam? How could she be so upsetting to you? Gu Yujin clutched his chest, feeling an empty void in his heart. Su Luo's attitude made him realize there was a serious issue between them. Gu Yujin carefully thought back, trying to figure out when they had become so distant. Before Emo Xiaoya came to seek refuge with him, they were deeply in love. It seemed that everything began to change slowly after she arrived. Su Lu was constantly causing trouble, and she and Emo Xiaoya were always at odds. Shouldn't he take care of Emo Xiaoya, a pregnant woman with no home? Why is Su Lu being so unreasonable? Why would Su Lu push Emo Xiaoya so viciously? No, Su Luo has always been gentle and kind, with an excellent reputation in the compound. I've never seen her have issues with anyone. Why does she always target Emo Xiaoya? Could it be that Emo Xiaoya is the one with the problem? Gu Yujin couldn't help but think of that terrifying dream again. He instructed guard Zhang, pause the search for a house for Emo Xiaoya to move out, go to Emo Xiaoya's registered residence and find a place to settle her. Xiao Zhang exclaimed, Emo Xiaoya's registered residence is over 1,000 kilometers away from here. How are you going to take care of her from so far away? She's an adult and should be able to take care of herself. I was overthinking before. If others can manage to work and live with their kids, why can't she? Besides, she's so young, she'll have to get married eventually. It's not right for her to stay by my side forever. As Mo Xiaoya approached the hospital room door, ready to push it open, she heard Gu Yujin's words and suddenly stopped in her tracks. Mo Xiaoya didn't enter the room but turned around and fled in panic. Mo Xiaoya stopped in her tracks in a secluded, empty spot, a face so hideous it was unbearable. Gu Yujin asking her to move out was already more than Emo Xiaoya could bear, and now it had escalated to being sent back to her hometown. She had gone to great lengths to find her way to Gu Yujin's side and cling to him. Wouldn't that make her plan a total failure? She absolutely doesn't want to be sent away. Gu Yujin has already instructed the guards to handle this. Proving his firm determination to send her away, she must find a way to deal with this. Emo Xiaoya paced anxiously in place. What should she do? What on earth should she do? The divorce report Su Lu had given her was already crumpled in her hand. Emo Xiaoya forced herself to calm down, smoothed out the divorce report Su Lu had given her, and read it again. A brilliant idea quickly formed in her mind. A small heart is no gentleman, and no ruthlessness is no man. Let's do it. A few hours later, Emo Xiaoya pushed open the door to Gu Yujin's hospital room. She walked pitifully to the bedside. Yujin Gij, I have something to tell you. Gu Yujin hummed in acknowledgement, his attitude significantly colder than before. Emo Xiaoya could tell, and she was filled with resentment. It's unclear what tactics Su Lu used to suddenly change Gu Yujin's behavior. No matter, she had already devised a plan to deal with it. Su Lu is definitely done for this time, Emo Xiaoya thought to herself. Continuing to act delicate and pitiful, Brother Yujin, I plan to go back. Go back. Gu Yujin looked at Emo Xiaoya in surprise. Where are you going back to? Back to my registered residence. It's not right for me to keep troubling you, and you have your own family to take care of, so I've decided to go back. Gu Yujin looked at Emo Xiaoya in surprise. He had just decided to send Emo Xiaoya away but hadn't figured out how to tell her yet, now that Emo Xiaoya had voluntarily suggested leaving. It resolved his worries. Gu Yujin was pleased. It's good for you to go back. Let me know if you need anything, and I'll have someone prepare it for you. Seeing Gu Yujin's relieved expression, Emo Xiaoya felt even more resentment. She suppressed her resentment and pulled out a prepared contract. Brother Yujin, I plan to buy a house in my registered residence, and I need a guarantor. Could you sign as my guarantor? Gu Yujin agreed without hesitation. No problem. Emo Xiaoya immediately spread out the documents, flipped to the page requiring signatures and fingerprints, and asked Gu Yujin to sign. Gu Yujin only glanced briefly at the content of the first page before signing. Emo Xiaoya put away the documents and gave a gentle smile. I won't disturb you while you're recovering, Brother Yujin. I'll go back and get ready. We'll leave in a few days. Seeing how considerate Emo Xiaoya was, Gu Yujin felt a pang of guilt. Take your time, you can pack slowly. Let me know if you need anything. Emo Xiaoya obediently left, but as she stepped out of the ward, her face darkened. It won't be that easy to get rid of her. Now it's her show. I didn't expect Emo Xiaoya to act so quickly. She managed to get Gu Yujin's signed divorce papers in just a few hours. Taking the divorce papers, I immediately rushed to the military district to seek approval from the leadership. The leader was surprised to see my and Gu Yujin's divorce papers and inquired about the reason. I said it was due to incompatibility. Everyone knew about Gu Yujin confining me to quarters, and the leader sighed before signing the document. With the approved divorce report in hand, I was in the best mood possible. As I left the military compound, I unexpectedly ran into Gu Yujin's guard. Xiao Zhang greeted me reluctantly with a sour expression on his face. In a good mood, I didn't bother to argue with him and smiled as I walked past Xiao Zhang, ready to leave. Xiao Zhang stopped me. The leader wants you to make the fish soup. Not available. How can you do this? Xiao Zhang's eyebrows shot up in anger. Su Luo, don't you think you're being unreasonable? How can you be like this as a wife? Mind your own business. If your boss wants fish soup, go find Emo Xiaoya. She'd be more than happy to help. You're absolutely unreasonable. How can there be someone as unreasonable and irrational as you? The boss has already compromised by planning to send Emo Xiaoya back to her hometown, yet you're still causing trouble. Don't you know he's been talking about you non-stop these days? You're just being petty and jealous over some trivial matter, neglecting the boss. You're truly unreasonable. Xiao Zhang's words surprised me. Is Gu Yujin really planning to send Emo Xiaoya back to her hometown? No way. Can Emo Xiaoya leave? She has already agreed. She'll leave in a few days. Are you satisfied now? Hurry back and make the fish soup to bring to the hospital. The leader is waiting. I can't believe Emo Xiaoya would be willing to leave. In my previous life, she schemed against me so much, causing Gu Yujin to doubt me, making me depressed, killing my unborn child, and driving me to suicide. Her feelings for Gu Yujin were so clear, there was no way she would back down. My gut told me Emo Xiaoya definitely had a trick up her sleeve. With only a few days left before I leave, and with past experiences in mind, I must be cautious to prevent Emo Xiaoya from causing trouble. To avoid any unnecessary complications, I'd been avoiding Emo Xiaoya and steering clear of her these past few days. But Emo Xiaoya still showed up the night before I was about to leave. She banged on the door loudly. But I stayed silent and refused to open it, letting her make a fuss. I had locked the courtyard gate from the inside, and Emo Xiaoya finally gave up and left after making a scene until 2 a.m. In the morning. As I stood upstairs looking down, I saw Emo Xiaoya again, heavily pregnant. Emo Xiaoya has been blocking me day and night here. She must have ulterior motives. I had planned to leave and let go of all grudges. But seeing Emo Xiaoya like this, it seems she doesn't want a peaceful end. If that's the case, then I have no reason to back down. I haven't avenged the shame of losing my child and dying in my previous life. I smirked and slowly descended the stairs, deliberately placing a steel bar as I turned the corner. If Emo Xiaoya means no harm, then so be it. If she still wants to frame me, that's her doom. After setting everything up, I slowly opened the courtyard gate, following closely. Emo Xiaoya darted in. She slammed the door shut, blocking it with a venomous glare at me. Su Luo, did you really think I couldn't stop you just because you didn't open the door? I took a few steps back, watching her warily. So what do you want from me? Trying to frame me again? Emo Xiaoya had a triumphant, sinister smile on her face. Why not? Let me tell you, Emo Xiaoya, don't you dare mess around. I've already divorced Gu Yujin to let you two be together. Why are you still scheming against me? I raised my voice and demanded, and Emo Xiaoya's gaze at me was full of hatred. You two-faced bitch. What kind of divorce to help me and Yujin is just an excuse? Your real goal is to push Yujin to send me away, isn't it? I'm not. I really wanted to let you two be together. You're lying. If you really wanted a divorce, why would you have Yujin send me back? You clearly know I love Yujin. You know I don't want to be separated from him, yet you're so despicably tearing us apart. I'm telling you, Su Luo, you're dead. I won't let you off. What are you going to do? I'm warning you, Emo Xiaoya. Don't mess around. Last time you falsely accused me of pushing you. Gu Yujin locked me up. What do you want now? Of course, I'm sending you to hell. Su Luo, this is all your own fault. If you had just minded your own business and stayed out of mine and Yujin's affairs, I might have spared you. But since you dared to fight back, if you're looking for death, then I'll grant you your wish. I'll make sure you suffer endlessly in hell. Emo Xiaoya lunged at me with a fierce look, and her desperate stance made me turn and run upstairs. Emo Xiaoya missed her but didn't stop. Instead, she followed me up, heavily pregnant. I turned and ran quickly to the second floor, and Emo Xiaoya, heavily pregnant, chased after me. I stood at the top of the stairs on the second floor, looking down at her, pleading loudly, "Don't come near me, stay away from me, I warn you. Emo Xiaoya, don't even think about framing me, I'm begging you." It's too late to beg for mercy, Su Luo, go to hell. Mo Xiaoya, with a sinister smile on her face, climbed the stairs to grab my hand. As her hand touched the hem of my clothes, I suddenly lifted my foot. I viciously kicked straight at Mo Xiaoya's stomach. Her fiendish grin widened, and as she rolled down, her face showed disbelief and shock. I watched her roll down the stairs, her eyes glaring at me in fury. I smiled at her with a knowing look, but my voice was filled with panic as I shouted. Someone, help, Mo Xiaoya has fallen. As my words fell, Mo Xiaoya had already rolled down the stairs from upstairs. A loud thud echoed, followed by Mo Xiaoya's agonized scream. She clutched her stomach, staring at me in disbelief from the second floor. I smirked, silently mouthing 3 words to Mo Xiaoya, go to hell. Mo Xiaoya looked down at her stomach, seeing the rebar piercing through it, and let out a delayed scream of horror. Blood gushed from Mo Xiaoya's stomach, spraying everywhere. Mo Xiaoya's face contorted in agony, her hands clawing desperately, trying to grasp something. In the end, she grasped nothing and her hands fell limply. I continued to panic and shout, someone come quick, something's wrong. Mo Xiaoya was rushed to the hospital by people who came running. The steel bars placed downstairs happened to pierce through her pregnant belly, and she lost her baby. Not only that, but she also had to have her uterus removed due to massive bleeding. After several hours of emergency treatment, Mo Xiaoya finally came back from the brink of death. The first thing she did upon regaining consciousness was to accuse me of pushing her, causing the death of her unborn child. The consequences of this incident were severe, especially since I had previously pushed Mo Xiaoya and was confined as a result. Everyone believed I had pushed Mo Xiaoya, and Gu Yujin had his guard. Xiao Zhang, come to me first. I calmly went to see Gu Yujin. He looked furious and immediately confronted me. Su Luo, why did you do something like this? In 2 lifetimes, Gu Yujin has never trusted me when it comes to Mo Xiaoya, and he has never stood by my side. I wasn't angry at all. Just coldly asked Gu Yujin, so you've already convicted me, what's next? Force me to confess, keep me under house arrest. Gu Yujin, on what grounds? Do you think the court is your personal property? My attitude only made Gu Yujin angrier. What kind of attitude is that? Can't I even ask you a question? Of course not, you have no right. Don't you know I was planning to send her away, and she agreed to leave? What you're doing is really disappointing. Gu Yujin believed I had pushed Mo Xiaoya and even tried to coerce a confession from me. Su Luo, Mo Xiaoya's situation now is no small matter. This is a matter of life and death, and what you're doing is intentional harm. It's not something that can be solved by just locking you up. You'd better tell me the truth, and we'll figure out a way to resolve this. If I believed him, would I still be alive? I sneered. She fell on her own, and it has nothing to do with me. I don't need to come up with any solutions with you, Gu Yujin. I know you want to protect Mo Xiaoya. The child in her womb is dead, and she can never have children again. She suffered so much, and you have to find someone to blame to make her happy, and I'm the scapegoat, right? Gu Yujin's face turned ashen. Instead of jumping up in anger at my sarcasm, he suppressed his rage and spoke in a calmer tone. It's not what you think. Tell me honestly, what really happened? Did you really push Mo Xiaoya? I gave Gu Yujin a cryptic smile. Guess, I want you to tell me yourself whether you did it or not. Just assume I did. Gu Yujin's expression froze. What, did you really push her? Why, Su Luo, why? I want to know that too, I said, throwing up my hands. Mo Xiaoya always says I bully her, that I want to harm her. I've been wondering why I don't bully others but only her. I've racked my brain trying to figure it out, until she finally told me the reason. Do you want to hear it? Gu Yujin didn't say anything, just looked at me like that. I smiled. She said she's your girlfriend, that she likes you, and you love her the most. I'm just a cover-up for your public image. Nonsense. Gu Yujin's voice was filled with anger. Even after all this, he's still pretending. I was fooled by him like this in my previous life, only realizing the truth on my deathbed. I sneered. Nonsense. I don't think so, as far as I know. She has no blood relationship with you, right? Taking such good care of someone with no blood ties seems strange. What's even stranger is how much more you care for Mo Xiaoya than your own wife. That's quite intriguing. Gu Yujin's expression changed repeatedly, and he seemed unable to refute what I said. I ignored Gu Yujin's ugly expression and said, Mo Xiaoya says something, and you take it as the truth, but no matter how I explain, you don't believe me. Do you trust Mo Xiaoya so much because you're actually feeling guilty? You know your relationship with Mo Xiaoya is abnormal, and you're afraid I'll see through it. You're afraid I'll make a scene, so you're trying to silence me first. Gu Yujin's forehead veins bulged. I didn't. There's no point denying it now. I know you want revenge for Emo Xiaoya, you want to punish me. I'm waiting for your move, Gu Yujin. I pushed Emo Xiaoya. I'm the one responsible for her losing her child and her womb. I admit it, so why don't you send someone to arrest me? With a smile on my face, I leaned close to Gu Yujin and told him word by word in a voice only he could hear. Gu Yujin was so furious that he was gasping for breath. I know he's heartbroken over Emo Xiaoya right now, but who's going to care about my child? Who's going to care about the innocent me who died tragically in my previous life? I watched Gu Yujin's ever-changing expression, and as he reached out to grab me, I quickly stepped back. Then I added lightly, if you have the ability, I'm waiting for you to come and get me. With that, I turned and strode away, the loud bang echoing behind me. Gu Yujin must have been so furious that he smashed something, but it no longer concerns me. As I left Gu Yujin's room, I passed by Emo Xiaoya's room and saw her leaning against the headboard, wildly gesticulating with intense emotion. Several police officers stood by Emo Xiaoya's bed, with someone taking notes. Emo Xiaoya was at the peak of her emotional outburst, shouting and screaming. When she suddenly saw me standing at the door of the hospital room, she let out a scream. The murderer Su Lu is right at the door. Why aren't you arresting her? Why let her go? It was Su Lu who pushed me. The evidence is clear. You must arrest Su Lu right now. Don't let her get away. The police turned to look at me, and I met their gaze with a faint smile on my face. Then, slowly, I walked into the room under their watchful eyes. Emo Xiaoya was so furious that if she hadn't just had surgery and couldn't get out of bed, I'm sure she would have rushed over to hit me. I stood in the center of the ward, speaking sincerely. Emo Xiaoya, you need evidence to make such claims. You say I pushed you. Where's your witness? I am the witness. If you're the witness, then I can just as easily say I didn't push you and that you're deliberately framing me. Why would I frame you? Why would I risk my own child's life to frame you? I don't know your true intentions. After all, you've wronged me more than once. But Emo Xiaoya, is it really worth it to slander me at the cost of losing your child and your womb? Emo Xiaoya was still unaware that her uterus had been removed, and upon hearing this, she was stunned. What did you say? With a look of sympathy on my face, my words cut like a knife. I told you. Your own actions not only killed your child but also ruined you. You're no longer a complete woman now. No, it's impossible. How could it be? Emo Xiaoya didn't believe it. You must be lying to me. Why aren't you catching the real culprit? Why not arrest Su Luo? She pushed me. She killed my child. She's the murderer. I want her to go to jail and repent for my child. The police remained silent, and I sighed. Don't you get it by now? You're accusing me of pushing you without any evidence. But I have witnesses who can prove you're framing me. Emo Xiaoya, you might not realize that I don't live alone. There are others in my home. What do you mean? Emo Xiaoya's voice cracked. I was scared to live alone, so I asked some colleagues to stay with me. Not just one, but two. The moment you barged into my place and told me you were going to frame me. My colleagues heard everything. So, your plan to frame me has been exposed. Emo Xiaoya stared wide-eyed at me, and the police sighed. So, you're the one framing her. You should know that false accusations can land you in jail. How could this be? How could this be? I'm not. You've dug your own grave. You brought this on yourself. I kindly said what Emo Xiaoya wanted to say. Emo Xiaoya fainted with a flip of her eyes. I don't have time to deal with Emo Xiaoya, anyway. I have witnesses to prove my innocence, and Emo Xiaoya is the one framing me. What reason would I have to harm her? Especially since I've already applied to support the Western development. I've already divorced Gu Yujin, and I let go so decisively. There's no motive or reason for me to deal with Emo Xiaoya. The next day, I boarded the train heading west. As the car left the station, I gazed at the moving scenery outside the window and the bright sunshine, revealing a genuine smile. It was 2 days later that Gu Yujin found out I had left. He chased me to my workplace, and my boss told him that I had already submitted an application to support the Northwest. Besides, he's just my ex-husband. What right does he have to know about my affairs? Gu Yujin had no idea about our divorce, so he went to ask our boss. The boss showed Gu Yujin the signed application, and seeing his own signature, Gu Yujin was stunned. He was certain he had never signed a divorce petition. So what was going on? Gu Yujin suddenly remembered the document he had signed for Emo Xiaoya at the hospital. Could it be? Filled with anger, he rushed to the hospital to confront Emo Xiaoya. Emo Xiaoya admitted it, saying that the divorce was my idea, and she was just going along with it. She embraced Gu Yujin. Now I only have you. Since Su Luo is gone, let's be together properly. Gu Yujin pushed Emo Xiaoya away forcefully. Are you crazy? I am crazy. I became like this because of you. And you must take responsibility for me. Mo Xiaoya finally revealed her true colors to Gu Yujun. She demanded that he marry her, or else she would report his improper conduct to the military district. Gu Yujun never expected Mo Xiaoya to be like this. He finally saw Mo Xiaoya's true colors. He finally realized the truth about being deceived by Mo Xiaoya and understood that he had wronged me. But now, Gu Yujun is caught between a rock and a hard place. On one side is his future, and on the other is Mo Xiaoya, whom he despises to the core. Under Mo Xiaoya's coercion, Gu Yujun finally confessed to his superiors. The superior, valuing Gu Yujun's talent, planned to suppress the matter, but Mo Xiaoya went mad, unwilling to end up with nothing. She made a scene everywhere, spreading rumors about her and Gu Yujun's scandal, and so, Gu Yujun was discharged from the military and sent back home. I heard news about Gu Yujun and Mo Xiaoya again in my third year in the Northwest. A person familiar with us was also dispatched to the Northwest, and she told me about Gu Yujun and Mo Xiaoya. They are all dead. I was stunned. How could this happen? After Gu Yujun was sent home, Mo Xiaoya went to Gu's house to cause a scene. Gu Yujun was driven to desperation and eventually strangled Mo Xiaoya, then he took his own life. This outcome was beyond my expectations. There was no sadness, nor schadenfreude. For someone who has already let go, I didn't spare a single thought. Story 2. After school, the campus was nearly empty. I took deep breaths of fresh air, suddenly pulled back from the resentment and fear of my previous death. My emotions still difficult to calm, Linny was handing Zhou Qi a bottle of water, which contained a forbidden drug that would ignite one's desires. In my past life, I accidentally discovered Linny pouring an unknown white powder into the water. I exposed her on the spot, but my childhood friend didn't believe me. He insisted on drinking the water, even asking if I was jealous of Linny's prettier looks and thus targeting her. This time, I didn't stop him. After Zhou Qi took the water, he instinctively looked at me. You're not going to control even what I drink, are you? Do as you please. I waved my hand. Linny wouldn't miss any opportunity to target me. She immediately said, Li Nanfeng, your possessiveness over Zhou Qi is too much. Does he not even have the freedom to make friends? As soon as she said that, a few classmates who hadn't left yet gave me strange looks. Zhou Qi's face turned even gloomier. What is he even worth? Just a bookworm. I clenched the pen in my hand, my eyes filled with intense hatred. You just won't stop, will you? From start to finish, have I said anything? Zhou Qi was stunned and kept a straight face, not speaking. Linny continued to sow discord. You didn't say anything, but your face looked terrible, just because I talked to Zhou Qi. You stood there with a straight face, not saying a word. Zhou Qi became angry, glared at me, and, as if to spite me, he drank the entire bottle of water. In my previous life, I had knocked the bottle away, so he only drank a sip, but even that was enough to make him lose his mind. I couldn't even imagine what would happen if he drank the whole bottle. Surprisingly, I found myself looking forward to it. As he finished drinking the water, Linny couldn't hide her excitement at having succeeded. She pulled Zhou Qi's hand and said, Zhou Qi, will you see me home? Of course, Zhou Qi wouldn't refuse. They left the classroom hand in hand. 10 minutes later, the class monitor Lu Ping burst into the classroom, red-faced, with only me left inside. Lu Ping stammered, clearly finding it hard to speak. What's wrong? Did something happen to Zhou Qi and the others? I asked proactively. Lu Ping grabbed my hand. Yes, it's them. What happened to them? I looked directly into Lu Ping's eyes, pretending I knew nothing. I used to trust Lu Ping a lot. He was not only the class monitor but also my desk mate for 3 years in high school. I thought we were close friends who could talk about anything, but I never expected him to step on me so hard after the incident. He told others that I had a crush on Zhou Qi, drugged him, and even went live to accuse me of my misdeeds. He was my desk mate for 3 years, and I always knew he liked Zhou Qi. But I never thought he would actually do something like this. Li Nanfeng has a hidden past. She once called 10 escorts in one night. I tried to advise her, but she wouldn't listen. She also had an unclear relationship with the old man next door. This live broadcast pushed the entire incident to its climax, and I was completely cast into the abyss. The school also persuaded me to withdraw. Later, I happened to see her once, and by then she had risen to a high position. Thank you. If it weren't for your incident, I wouldn't have been able to take your guaranteed admission spot and smoothly enter Tsinghua and Peking University. As the memories resurfaced, I stared intently at Lu Ping. In my previous life, it was me and him who discovered Zhou Qi dragging Linny into the bathroom. I rushed over to stop him, while Lu Ping, claiming to call for help, hid to the side to watch and record the video. Seeing that I wasn't in a hurry, Lu Ping was so anxious that he was incoherent. Zhou Qi is dragging Linyi into the men's bathroom, and Linyi has been crying. Is Zhou Qi going to assault Linyi? But aren't they mutually attracted? How do you know Linyi isn't willing? Hearing me say this, Lu Ping was stunned. Everyone in the class knew that Zhou Qi and Linyi were flirting, just one step away from breaking the final barrier. Lu Ping anxiously grabbed my wrist. But they're still students, they can't do this. Come on, let's go and see. We can't just stand by. The calculation in Lu Ping's eyes was about to overflow. He wanted to ruin me to snatch the guaranteed admission spot to Tsinghua and Peking University. I didn't say anything more and followed him downstairs. On the way, I secretly sent the help message I had prepared earlier to the principal and leaders, and also contacted a few live-streaming influencers nearby. Linyi is the principal's daughter, and it was during my expulsion that the principal humiliated me to the utmost, saying I was ridden by thousands and slept with by tens of thousands. This time, I want the principal to see his daughter's grand performance. As we approached the restroom, we heard ambiguous sounds coming from inside. Brother Zhou Qi, here, I want more. Brother Zhou Qi, you're amazing. The woman's moans and the man's muffled groans were incessant. Lu Ping's eyes darted around. Nanfeng, you go in first to stop them, and I'll go find help. No, I can't go in. Let's just wait for the teacher here. I shrank my neck, pretending to be very scared. Lu Ping glared at me angrily, suppressing his temper and lowering his voice. If you don't go in now, they'll be done. Do you really want to let Zhou Qi go to Linyi? The outer door of the restroom wasn't closed properly. Through the crack, I saw Zhou Qi pressing Linyi against the wall. Her clothes were half off, revealing her charms. Zhou Qi was frenziedly tearing at Linyi's school uniform, biting at her. Linyi pretended to struggle but wasn't really putting in any effort. Her coy act only made Zhou Qi even more unable to resist. I pursed my lips tightly, pretending to be hesitant. Alright, you're right, I'll go in now. Just as I was about to push the door open, I turned back to Lu Ping and said, go find the teacher quickly. I won't be able to hold out for long. Lu Ping agreed hurriedly, turned around, and ran off, only to make a turn and come back. He happily took out his phone, opened the camera, and wedged it into the door crack. Inside was chaos, and the lewd sounds were unashamedly audible. After doing this, Lu Ping was satisfied and went to find the teacher and school security. By the time a group of people rushed to the building, the two inside were still passionately engaged. Lu Ping cried, covering his face, and stopped the principal. Teacher, I don't know why they would do this. The principal's face was ashen with anger, and he had no idea that his daughter, Linyi, was inside. Lu Ping hadn't made it clear who was involved. Lu Ping wasn't just trying to ruin me. He also wanted to ruin Linyi, seeing us both as rivals. Today, coincidentally, a friend from the Education Bureau was conducting an inspection, and now a group of education officials were following the principal to catch the adulterers. The scene was nothing short of dramatic. The principal was shaking with rage, and with the education officials watching, his chances of promotion seemed all but destroyed. At that moment, he probably wished he could kill the adulterers inside. The principal tried to move forward again, but Lu Ping stopped him once more, wailing, Principal, inside is. He pretended to be hesitant. The principal grabbed his shoulder and demanded, who is it? Lu Ping, acting as if he were terrified, stammered, it's Li Nanfeng. The principal naturally recognized me. My grades were always top of the class, and I was the most promising candidate for Tsinghua or Peking University. The principal's eyes widened in fury, and the insult he was about to hurl was suddenly cut short. The education officials were still watching the principal, so it wasn't the right time to say anything too harsh. Inside, the couple was still lost in their pleasure, completely unaware of the commotion outside, and the sounds of their indulgence grew even more unrestrained. Lu Ping clutched his chest and cried, Li Nanfeng, you're so foolish, why can't you control yourself? Is it really that hard for you to be without a man? As soon as these words were spoken, the leaders of the Education Bureau turned extremely pale. They prided themselves on being respectable people and didn't dare to barge in at this moment. A group of them waited downstairs, each with a different expression, looking at each other in confusion. What did I do? I finally stepped out from my hiding place after a long while. Why are you here? Lu Ping exclaimed in shock. The principal gave me a suspicious look. Wasn't it you? Then who was inside? I shrug. I don't know. I didn't get a clear look at who it was. Since Lu Ping was deliberately hiding the truth, there was no need for me to expose it. At that moment, a few influencers got wind of the news and barged in despite the school security's attempts to stop them. Wow, your students are really open. aren't they, indulging in public indecency in broad daylight? Yeah, principal. Won't you take us to have a look? What are your thoughts on this? Chat with your family in the live stream. The principal's face turned ashen, and he remained tight-lipped. Lu Ping stared at me intently, finally breaking down, and grabbed my hand. Weren't you the one who went in? Then who was it that just went in? I was scared and didn't dare to go in, I said, forcing out some tears and pretending to be a coward. Lu Ping was so furious that he raised his hand to slap me, but just as his palm was about to hit my face, he stopped himself and glared at me fiercely. The influencer's live streaming equipment was set up, and the live chat was going wild. 666, this is too exciting. Just from the sounds, you can tell it's intense in there. The host should go in and record it. Let the brothers feast their eyes. The influencer chuckled. I dare not. If I go in, my live stream will get banned. I avoided the camera and gave Lu Ping a sly smile. He stared at me in astonishment. What's wrong, class monitor? I asked knowingly. The leaders of the Education Bureau were already red in the face, pointing towards the bathroom. Lao Lin, you'd better go and talk to your students. The truth was out of the bag now, and the principal was so furious that his face was contorted. Fine, these students are really something. As the principal rushed towards the bathroom, I ran over crying and grabbed him. Teacher, you'd better not go. The principal shoved me hard. Get out of the way. What are you all trying to stop me for? Everyone around looked at each other, and Lu Ping had already realized what was going on. He hid in the crowd, staring at me without blinking. He seemed to think of something and suddenly ran over. Li Nanfeng. Stop getting involved with them. I know you liked Zhou Qi, but he deserves it. He acted like he was thinking of me, pulling me aside with a look of deep regret. We're just students. Don't get involved in teachers' affairs. Seeing that I still wanted to stop him, the principal shoved me hard again. I cried out in agony, pleading to the live camera. But there are so many people here. What will happen to those inside if this gets out? I pretended to be very concerned about those inside. In front of the camera, I had to act like I cared about my classmates. This time, I had to be the one standing on the moral high ground. Hearing this, the principal froze, and the Education Bureau leaders also looked troubled. In front of the camera, they couldn't just rush in and catch them in the act. If it led to students getting hurt, they couldn't bear the consequences. A group of people hesitated 30 meters away from the bathroom in the school building. It wasn't close, but we could still clearly hear the noises inside. I tried to get closer to film but was stopped by security. Thus, a group of people waited outside like hunters, and it took almost 2 hours for the noises inside to finally stop. The bathroom door opened, but to everyone's surprise, a man with a satisfied expression walked out. Not a student from our school. He was burly and strong, with a scar on his face. Seeing so many eyes on him, he spat in disgust. What are you looking at? Keep looking and I'll gouge out your eyeballs. Seeing that he was a social figure, the principal visibly relaxed. As long as it wasn't a student who got hurt, things would be easier to handle. But then, someone exclaimed, damn, seized the opportunity and rushed in. The bathroom door was wide open, revealing a chaotic scene that made everyone gasp. Zhou Qi and Lin Yi, with disheveled hair, lay naked on the floor. Several men stood around them, saying, this guy is even more powerful than a woman. We can't even satisfy him. This woman is useless. She passed out in no time. That guy is tough. The men slowly put on their pants, reluctantly leaving only after the door was opened. I recognized a few of them as construction workers building a new building at our school. Zhou Qi, however, seemed to be in a trance, mumbling, I want more, I want more. His drug effect this time was much stronger than in his previous life. They shouted, holy shit, he's into both men and women. I was momentarily stunned, never knowing Zhou Qi could be bisexual. Lin Yi, on the other hand, appeared to be completely out of it, her body covered in bruises, her hair sticking to her face, making it hard to recognize her. The principal, seeing this, was dumbfounded, his hands trembling with anger. You two, are you out of your minds? Lin Yi, half conscious, was startled awake by the principal's scream. She propped herself up, shivering at the sight of the crowd in front of her. She quickly picked up the torn clothes from the floor and threw them on, trying to stand but slipping and falling heavily with a thud. The leaders exchanged quick glances, and the principal's face turned grim. Who dared to pull such a disgraceful stunt at a time when he was about to get promoted, in front of so many leaders? His career was ruined. The principal, feeling like a broken pot, rushed forward and grabbed Lin Yi's hair. You filthy wretch, how were you raised by your parents? Lin Yi's scalp hurt from the grip, but she couldn't muster the words to stop him. Meanwhile, Zhou Qi, still unsatisfied, crawled over and started groping Linny. She kicked him away with disgust, having completely lost any regard for him over the past 2 hours. I sobbed silently in the crowd, looking like a caring student worried about her classmates. The principal and the newly arrived homeroom teacher continued to hurl insults and humiliation at Linny, who shivered tightly wrapped in her clothes. During this, someone tried to move her hair aside, but she wildly slapped their hand away. I stayed hidden at the back, watching the drama unfold, while Lu Ping looked at me with a heavy heart, occasionally glancing back at me. The principal was so furious that his chest heaved violently. The Education Bureau leader sighed and shook his head, then left after whispering something to the principal. After they left, the principal's face turned even darker. Unable to control himself any longer, he charged forward and viciously kicked Zhou Qi and Linny. Linny, naked, dodged, while Zhou Qi, still under the effects of the drug, was too weak to evade. Screaming in pain, Linny cried out in heart-wrenching sobs, "Stop, stop." The principal then turned to attack Linny, cornering her and snarling, "Bitch, what are you hiding for? Weren't you good at playing games? Come on, let everyone see how thick your skin is." The principal deliberately moved aside to ensure the live stream captured everything clearly. Then, he grabbed a handful of Linny's hair, lifting her head up, exposing her pale, tear-streaked face. The surrounding fell silent for a moment, until someone shouted, "It's Linny." The principal, closest to her, reacted first, recoiling as if he had touched a plague, stumbling back and glaring at her. Linny choked out, "Mom." That single word "mom" shattered all the principal's remaining hope. He shook his head. His phone slipped from his hand, landing with a thud, and he seemed struck by lightning, trembling all over. I watched coldly from the corner, observing this gripping scene of betrayal. Look, this is how the drama was meant to unfold. In my past life, I shouldn't have intervened, only to get myself into trouble. Lu Ping, staring at me through the crowd, muttered, "This isn't how it should be." He couldn't understand why I didn't rush in. He knew about Linny drugging Zhou Qi, and he had even helped her get the drug. Lu Ping was well aware of how potent the drug was. Just a little would turn even the purest, most virtuous person into a mindless creature driven by lust. If I had dared to step in earlier, Zhou Qi wouldn't have let me go. Now, Zhou Qi, finally regaining a bit of sanity, still felt unbearably uncomfortable. As if he were drowning in a sea of desire. "I feel so awful, so awful." He couldn't help but want to get closer to Linny, but she slapped him hard. "Get away, you're disgusting, don't touch me." Her voice was hoarse. That slap brought Zhou Qi back to his senses a bit. He gritted his teeth. "You think I'm dirty? Who was it that was having so much fun with those men just now? Did I have as much fun as you? I'm exhausted, yet you were still grinding your hips against them." Linny felt like vomiting at the thought. The scene of the two of them attacking each other was clearly recorded by the nosy influencers. They were in the middle of a heated fight when Lu Ping suddenly rushed over, crying and blocking Linny. "I'm sorry. It's my fault for not being able to stop Nanfeng." Which led to this. Before Lu Ping could finish, everyone present understood what she meant. The principal was the first to react. He rushed over like a madman and slapped me hard. "It was you framed my daughter." Linny reacted quickly too. She wrapped herself tightly in her clothes and cried bitterly. "Yes, it was her. She wanted to harm me." Zhou Qi pinched himself to stay, shaking his head. "Nanfeng, it was you." Everyone pointed at me. And the situation seemed to turn around in an instant. The influencer pointed the camera at me. "Was it you? Speak up, classmate. Did you do it?" Before Lu Ping could say anything more, I hugged her tightly, sobbing uncontrollably. "Deskmate, I know you're good to me, but you can't take revenge for me by deliberately bringing those workers here." Hearing this, Linny turned sharply to look at Lu Ping. She had only told Lu Ping about drugging Zhou Qi. Could it really be Lu Ping? "Was it you?" Linny stared at Lu Ping as if she were looking at a dead person. Lu Ping was sweating profusely and quickly shook her head. In her panic, she pointed at me. "You're lying. I wanted to get you involved." "No, that's not it." Lu Ping's words stopped abruptly. Seeing the scrutinizing looks around her, she was drenched in cold sweat. The principal's face turned from red to white, then from white to green. Perhaps the principal had already guessed a thing or two. He had the security guards escort the influencers out of the school and used a mix of threats and bribes to finally bring the matter to a close. Zhou Qi was rushed to the hospital that day, as the drug's effect was too strong, causing him to faint. It said that the overdose could likely leave Zhou Qi impotent for life. The incident in the bathroom couldn't be covered up, and by the next day, it had spread throughout the school like wildfire. Exciting, huh? I heard those workers got involved too. I never expected Zhou Qi, this big straight guy, to not even spare men. Hey, didn't you see the news? Some men, once they're in the mood, won't even spare a tailpipe. The matter escalated so much that even the police chief stepped in, vowing to get to the bottom of it. I took a day off at home and went to school as usual. As soon as I arrived, my classmates surrounded me, chattering away. Lu Ping was up on the stage wiping the blackboard, staring at me intently the whole time. Neither Zhou Qi nor Lin Yi showed up at school. After class, Lu Ping called me out for a talk. When we got to the empty equipment room, Lu Ping dropped the act, his face darkening. You ruined our plans. At that moment, Lin Yi emerged from behind the equipment, her face grim and terrifying. The dim light in the equipment room made her expression even more inscrutable. She stepped closer, saying, Li Nanfeng, do you think you're very clever? Lin Yi still had faint red marks on her neck, her eyes filled with venom. Lu Ping told me everything. You knew I drugged the water and deliberately didn't stop me, even leading those workers there. You wanted to see me fail, to destroy me. I shrugged. If you were the one who drugged the water, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Who can you blame? Lin Yi was so angry that her chest was heaving violently. She didn't particularly like Zhou Qi, but since she had touched her stomach, she needed a father for the child in her belly, and Zhou Qi, the devoted dog, came from a good family, was a second-generation official, and was completely devoted to her. He was perfect for taking the fall. She hadn't expected things to escalate so much. Now reaching a point of no return, someone had to take the blame. I won't let you off. Li Nanfeng, what do you want? Others, knowing Lin Yi was the principal's daughter, avoided confronting her. But I wasn't afraid. My parents are influential figures in the area, running a company with 5,000 employees. Lu Ping was terrified the conflict would turn on him, so he quickly distanced himself. Don't let her off. She's deliberately targeting you because of Zhou Qi. Lu Ping was just a poor student, and if Lin Yi turned her attention to him, he'd be finished. But Lu Ping was too naive. He thought he could just shift all the blame onto me and escape, but how could that be possible? Lin Yi turned to look at Lu Ping. Monitor, what do you think we should do about this? We could say Nanfeng put the drug in, just like we originally planned. Lu Ping eagerly spoke up, but Lin Yi shook her head. That won't do. The police can trace the drug back to you. Lu Ping. Hearing this, Lu Ping's face turned pale, and he stared blankly at Lin Yi. You didn't say that last night. You said you'd protect me. Protect you? Lin Yi sneered. I remember your parents are farmers, and your grandmother is in the hospital. The more Lin Yi spoke, the worse Lu Ping's complexion became. Lu Ping thought Lin Yi was here to teach me a lesson, but he was too naive. Lin Yi's real goal was to make Lu Ping, the accomplice, take all the blame. What do you mean? Are you threatening me? Lu Ping screamed, and Lin Yi slapped him across the face. Shut up. Lu Ping glared at Lin Yi with a hand over his face, seething with resentment. Lin Yi chuckled. Don't think I don't know what you're up to. You were so quick to buy me that medicine. Weren't you just trying to laugh at me and reap the benefits? I won't let Li Nanfeng off, so why would I let you off either? I crossed my arms, watching the two dogs biting each other with cold eyes. Lu Ping lowered his head, not knowing what he was thinking. He only knew that he was done. Offending the principal and being involved in the illegal drug trade, he was completely finished. Seeing Lu Ping quiet, Lin Yi nodded in satisfaction and turned to look at me. Enjoying the show? Not bad, quite entertaining, I said with a smirk. Lin Yi was furious, gritting her teeth. Don't get cocky. Zhou Qi has already agreed to marry me. I still win, but aren't you already over Zhou Qi? Given Lin Yi's attitude towards Zhou Qi that day, anyone could tell she despised him. Lin Yi shot me a glare. That's none of your business. Zhou Qi and I are going abroad to get married, and we probably won't come back. You'd better not bother him again, or I won't let you off. Lu Ping turned himself in, admitting that he had bought the illegal drugs and that he had administered them on the day he was taken away. Lu Ping, with blank eyes and handcuffed, was escorted into the police car, still muttering, "It shouldn't be. I should have been able to get into Tsinghua or Peking University. I was supposed to be glorious all my life." The classmates exclaimed that Lu Ping had gone mad. Due to the eruption of this scandal, the principal was dismissed from his position and stayed at home, while Lin Yi and Zhou Qi also took a leave of absence. It was half a month later when I saw Zhou Qi. Our families were old friends. His parents were in politics, and mine were in business. Zhou Qi lay on the hospital bed with a vacant stare. My mother whispered to me, "Zhou Qi is done for. The drug has severely damaged his body. He won't be able to recover." In my previous life, this accident hadn't happened, and it seems he's gone mad. He screams and shouts whenever he sees a man. The doctor says it's a severe psychological trauma. I was stunned. Had Zhou Qi developed a fear of men? Indeed. As soon as he saw my father and his father, two men, Zhou Qi went crazy. Get away, get away. Unable to do anything, the parents had to step out. Zhou Qi's mother pulled me and cried, "Child, please talk some sense into him. How can this be? It's not a big deal to be with a man. Please convince him." I struggled to hold back my laughter. "All right, auntie." As I entered the ward, Zhou Qi was still gasping for breath. His bloodshot eyes locked onto my face as if he wanted to devour me. "Why didn't you stop me?" he demanded. "Why would I stop you? Isn't this exactly what you wanted?" I blinked innocently, which only made Zhou Qi even angrier, causing him to gasp for air as if he was about to die young. "You came back too, didn't you? You knew." "Shut up." I walked over and slapped him hard, my eyes sharp. "Do you really not know what happens when I get involved? Zhou Qi, even if you don't like me, I'm still the girl next door who grew up with you. How could you bring yourself to kill my entire family?" At those words, Zhou Qi's body seemed to deflate completely, and a tear slid down the corner of his eye. After a long while, he exhaled a heavy breath. I was just deceived by Linny. She said you were always bullying her, and that's why she did something wrong to get me." Bullying her? I pointed at myself in disbelief. With Linny's arrogant and domineering personality, who could possibly bully her? Before leaving, I whispered in Zhou Qi's ear, "Do you know Linny is pregnant, 2 months along?" At this, Zhou Qi's pupils shook. In his previous life, Zhou Qi had always believed that the child in Linny's belly was his, which led him to coldly watch as Linny drugged me, causing me to lose several children. I continued, "You killed your own child for a bastard. TSK, you really are the perfect cuckold." Zhou Qi could no longer bear it and suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Seeing his ashen face, I continued to provoke, "You must know you're impotent, right? But it's okay, you can find a man." Zhou Qi began to scream like a madman, and the doctors and nurses rushed in, tying him to the bed and injecting him with a sedative. In the end, Lu Ping didn't let Linny off the hook. On the day he was sentenced by the court, he uploaded all the videos he had taken to the internet. Netizens are never short of time or energy to watch. And even if the videos went viral abroad, it didn't stop them from reposting them back home. The videos reposted in China were all censored, but from the chaos, netizens could still see how wild the one-woman multiple men scenario was, starting with just 2 students, then a few workers coming in to use the restroom, and even a video of Linny and Lu Ping discussing buying banned drugs. The principal had already distanced himself from Linny and gained everyone's sympathy. But with the release of the video, public opinion completely shifted. Wow, so it was the female student's self-directed performance. That's really mind-blowing. Why would she do this? What was the point? The principal's daughter is really something, and because of Linny's involvement, the principal was taken down by his competitors, and for a time, it was a case of the wall falling and everyone pushing it. Many people began to come forward to report the principal's corruption and misuse of public resources during his tenure, and the relevant departments intervened in the investigation, quickly arresting the principal. Linny also served a few years in prison for the drug incident, and Zhou Qi's parents were asked to stay home due to Zhou Qi's behavior at school. As for me, I gained the sympathy of my classmates and teachers, who all pitied me as an innocent person who almost got caught up in their mess. One day after school, I happily headed home with my backpack, only to bump into Zhou Qi. He had lost a lot of weight, his cheeks sunken, and despite the hot weather, he was wrapped up tightly, looking as if he was afraid of being recognized. He approached me, his eyes filled with fatigue and regret. "Nanfeng, can we talk?" "There's nothing to talk about," I said, pushing him away and trying to leave. Zhou Qi anxiously grabbed my hand, pleading, "Please, I know I was wrong, I really do. I truly thought you were bullying Linny at school, and other students were ing her, so I thought you were the one behind it. That's why I chuckled. You never really believed it, did you? You just hated me for suddenly appearing and blocking your path to ingratiate yourself with the principal's family. Even after my family went all out to help you start your business, you still felt it wasn't enough." Zhou Qi's family was in politics, but his parents held relatively low positions. The principal's family, on the other hand, were high-ranking officials, especially the principal's husband, who held significant influence in the province. Naturally, such status appealed more to Zhou Qi. He looked down on businessmen at his core, and his pursuit of power had blinded him. However, after such a big scandal, even the principal's powerful husband might find it hard to stay untainted. Zhou Qi, now emaciated, flashed an expression of embarrassment and helplessness. He shouted, 100 days of for a day of, we were for 10 years, are you really that heartless? How dare you even mention us being? I glared at him fiercely. Zhou Qi, always thick-skinned, wasn't giving up. This time, I'll treat you well, we can start over, I'll help manage your parents' company. I almost laughed in anger. At this point, he still dared to covet my family's company. I leaned in closer to him. Your parents are currently required to stay home on suspension. Do you think they still have a chance to regain their positions if more bad news comes out now? Zhou Qi's eyes widened abruptly. I continued, I was married to you for 10 years in my previous life. Do you really think I don't know what your family did? Zhou Qi, do you know your parents had another daughter? Upon hearing this, Zhou Qi's face turned pale. He had always known he had a sister, but back then, due to the one-child policy, public officials were only allowed one child. For the sake of continuing their lineage, his parents smothered their newborn daughter to death and fabricated an accidental death. I only learned about this by chance after we got married. Zhou Qi stepped back. You're lying, what evidence do you have? I shook my head and smiled. Do I need to go out of my way to find evidence? I just need to hint at this to your parents' political rivals, and someone else will do the digging. Zhou Qi didn't dare to argue further and fled in panic. Half a month later, I heard that Zhou Qi's parents had been arrested. My parents were furious at home, cursing the couple. So that's how the child died. My God, she was so lovely, chubby, and white. Yes, they brought her back to the village during the new year. And when they returned, they said she died because she was playful and accidentally suffocated under the blanket. I was successfully recommended to Tsinghua and Peking University as I wished. On the day I started university, I heard that Zhou Qi had attempted to jump into the sea and commit suicide, but he didn't die. After being rescued, he disappeared without a trace. Many years later, I heard about Zhou Qi again, this time about his wedding to Lin Yi. The high school class group immediately became lively, and they even shared a video from their wedding. In the video, both of them, worn out by life, walked up to the wedding altar with blank expressions. When it came time to exchange rings, they both didn't move. The MC stepped in to smooth things over. The two of them are just too happy and momentarily forgot the procedure. Let's give them another round of applause to boost their confidence. In the midst of thunderous applause, Zhou Qi threw the ring onto the ground and declared, I don't want to marry her. The room erupted in commotion. Lin Yi's sharp tongue remained as venomous as ever. Oh, please, did you think I'd willingly marry a eunuch like you? You've been repressed for so long, you're probably twisted in the head. If it weren't for giving the child a father, do you think I'd marry you? She picked up the ring, nonchalantly slipped it onto her finger, and then forcefully slid another ring onto Zhou Qi's finger. Zhou Qi, two rotten people like us deserve to rot together for life. As for who the father of her unborn child is, even she doesn't know. She's had flings with numerous male models, and even Lu Ping showed up at the wedding. He looked haggard, despite being only 25, as if he'd aged decades from the elements. He laughed maniacally. Yeah, you two should rot together. The group chat exploded with excitement. Finale. Throwing flowers, in a way, they truly are a perfect match. Let's congratulate this pair of villainous spouses on their fittingly twisted ending.